Hello all and welcome back to the channel. If you've been following the channel, you'll know that a few years back I had an 8.2 kilowatt solar array installed on my roof. To date, it has been working wonderfully. Now in the peak of the day, I'm generating often 500 to 4,000 extra watts of power that are going back to my power company via net metering and providing me a bill credit. In this configuration, I'm effectively treating the grid as a battery, but there's one small rub. My electric company charges me a fee to use their grid to send power back to them, meaning I don't get a 1-for-1 credit return per kilowatt hour. The math is a bit funky, but I pay about 8 cents per kilowatt hour and am credited nearly 5 cents per kilowatt hour that I return to the grid. I've been brainstorming ways to take full advantage of the power that my array creates, and I've arrived at my first solution: using a power bank to effectively peak shave my energy usage, sometimes known as time of use shifting. Basically, what this means is you're modifying your power consumption to occur when the cost of electricity is cheapest. Many power companies will have varying charge rates depending on the time of day, and they're usually cheaper at night. Now, while my company doesn't offer this, I'd like to do peak shaving with my solar panels with the help of this EcoFlow Delta Pro. Now, there are a myriad of video reviews of this power generator, so I'll forego the finer details, but here is the spec highlight reel. Feel free to pause. Taking a quick tour of the hardware, you will find 4 USB-A ports, 2 USB-C ports, 4 standard North American 120 volt ports, as well as a NEMA L5-30P plug with a 30 amp throughput. On the side of the generator, you'll find an Anderson port, a car outlet port, DC 5521 port, a networking port, pairing button, etc. And just below that, you'll find the EcoFlow Infinity port. On the back, you have the solar charger input, standard charging port for the wall, and an overload breaker. And below that, you'll find 2 battery expansion ports there if you want to expand the system with more battery packs. Lastly, there's a retractable handle that allows you to easily move this around, and that's much appreciated given that this weighs 99 pounds. Here again, this isn't a full-on review of this device, but let's take just a bit to test its mettle. Firstly, I'll connect my full-size fridge to it, and you'll see that it runs it no problem given that fridges are generally low-draw devices. But can it run the fridge and the microwave at the same time? It sure can with no problem. Now, I'll hook up 2 Medea U-split window AC units. One is 12,000 BTU and the other is 10,000 BTU. You can see that it's outputting just over 800 watts for both ACs, but it's doing so without breaking stride. Now let's get weird. While those 2 ACs are running, I'll hook up a 1500 watt space heater, and as you'll see, the Delta Pro has no problem running all 3 of these high amperage devices, though you can get a good idea of how loud the fans are under heavy load. Now let's take it into the garage and see how it handles some tools. I'll start out with this electric air compressor. After powering it up, you can see the 1000 watt output on the Delta's display, but again, it doesn't flinch. Heat gun? No problem. I was especially impressed by its ability to power this miter saw given the initial peak draw of over 2600 watts. Very impressive. Now let's get into the peak shavings that you're here for. While you can do this with just about any continuous load you may have running in your house, such as the window AC units, well pumps, etc., I've chosen to install this in my server room where I have a myriad of devices running that will consume anywhere from 400 to 600 watts at any given time. All of these devices run non-stop, so they'll make an excellent candidate for this project. The first thing I'll do is remove the traditional computer UPS that's been in here for years. And next, I'll squeeze the Delta Pro in, given that it's a pretty tight fit. With everything hooked up, it's now time to set up the peak shaving. The Delta Pro has no built-in time of use configuration I can find, so I'll have to get a bit creative. What I've decided to do is hook the Delta Pro up to a smart plug and set up some logic to strategically determine when the unit gets power from the wall. With a 10 millisecond switchover delay, when the power is cut, this will work just fine and keep all of my servers and electronics running without a hitch. Now, while you could get away with using one of these smart plugs if you turn the charge rate of the Delta down to 200 to 600 watts, I recommend using one of these as the amperage throughput is much higher. Given that my solar array produces the most excess power between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m., I'll configure the automation such that the Delta Pro is nearly dead by that time. I'll take the 3600 watt-hour capacity, I'll remove 20% due to efficiency losses, and divide the remainder by 400 watts given that that is the consumption rate of my servers. We're left with about 7.2 hours of runtime, but to be safe, we'll plan for 6.5. Hopping into Home Assistant where I manage my smart home and specifically the plug the Delta is plugged into, I'll set it to turn off daily at 5:30 a.m. and turn back on at 12 p.m. That means from 5:30 a.m. until 12 p.m. my entire server closet will be running exclusively off of the Delta Pro and the power that it has. Then, at 12, this plug will turn back on and feed excess power from the solar array back into the Delta Pro so that it can repeat the cycle once again. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. The Delta Pro costs anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 for the standalone unit, and frankly, I only stand to save 30 to 50 cents per day with this automation. So, do I recommend you go out and buy one to do the same? Honestly, no. If you did, you'd be waiting about 7 to 11 years to regain your costs. The real reason I bought this Delta Pro is twofold. Number one is to have a power backup in case of an outage. And number two, specifically to back up the power to my sump pump. We've had a lot of heavy rain lately and my basement is finished, so I wanted to ensure that if the power went out in heavy rain, the sump pump would still run. If this Delta Pro saves me from one basement flooding, it will have paid for itself in water damage repairs alone. The peak shavings I've done in this video were merely the cherry on top and perhaps a way you could slowly recoup some of the cost of the large purchase if you bought one yourself. Anyway, I hope you found this video helpful, and please let me know of any other peak shaving ideas you have in the comments below.